Most recently, the last time I went to my church in my hometown, my pastor spoke about gifts being wrapped in certain packages and how people would disregard or subside or just push to the side a certain gift because of the package that it was in. And it really kind of hit home for me because, like, I'm guilty of it sometimes, not accepting a gift that God has sent to me because of who brought it to me, or so on and so forth, which makes me think about the story that my mom used to tell me about Jesus Comes to Dinner. It's about this lady. Okay, there's this lady. She goes into town seeking Jesus. She finds him, and Jesus said to her that I'll see you. Where do you live? Blah blah blah. I'll come to your house later today or whatever. And she's like, oh my God. She runs home. She starts to prepare. When she gets home, she goes down to the watering well to fix water because they didn't have water like we have it. I mean, so abundantly and so freely to have. So she goes down to get the water, and on her way back, she meets this man, this drunk man, and he says, excuse me, ma'am, I've been traveling abroad. Could you spare some water for me so I can clean myself up and get myself together and be on my way? And she was like, no, this water is for a purpose. I cannot help you go on. Like, I have nothing for you. So she leaves and she goes back up the trail a little bit more, and she runs across this old lady. Okay, and this old lady is like, excuse me, ma'am, could you help me? I've lost my way. Could you at least just point me into the right direction? And she's just like, no, I have no time for you. I have no time for this. I have no time for whatever you're asking me. Just go on. And so she gets home with the water. She cleans up her house. She starts to make bread. She sets it out in the sun for it to rise so she could bake it or whatever. And she gets the bread. She starts to bake the bread. And not too long after, once the bread starts cooking and smelling, a little kid walks to her door and asks, ma'am, do you have any food to spare? I'm hungry. I haven't eaten in so long. And she's just like, no, I have nothing for you. I have this food is not for you. It's meant for a greater purpose. So she turns the child away, and so she continues to cook. She makes this feast for kings of kings. She makes this big glorious meal, and so this lady, she comes to the door with her baby. Her baby's crying, and she's just like, ma'am, do you have any milk? Could you spare anything for me? And she was like, no, I don't have anything for you. This is meant for a greater purpose than what you have come to me for. There's so many other people in this neighborhood. You should just go and find someone else. I don't have time to go and milk my cow to feed you and your baby. So she turns the lady and her baby away. She closes the door. She cleans everything up. She cleans herself up. She makes herself up. She makes herself as glorious as she can. And she just waits for God, or Jesus rather. And she waits for him, and he doesn't show. So she sits down and she's waiting. Next thing you know, she wakes up the next day, and Jesus never came. So she's just like, he said he was coming. Like, what happened? And so the angel comes back, and she's like, I've done all of this waiting for Jesus to get here, and he never came. And no, he came. She goes back into town to see Jesus, and she asks, Jesus, you said you were coming, you never came. And he was like, I came. I came 3 times to see you, but you turned me away all 3 times. He came as the drunk man. He came as the old woman. He came as the little child. He came as the pregnant woman with her baby. And she turned him away each time. And all she could do was weep. Which goes to say this, man. Use your intuition and the feeling that you have within. Like, don't just push things aside just because it's not how you figure that it should come to you. Your blessing is right before you. The only thing you need to do is accept it and have faith. With that being said, be a blessing to anybody, anywhere around the world, if you can. Please.